This is a lesson for Wednesday, 12/16. We're going to take a look at a little more at long division. So what we have here is we're actually dividing now not by a binomial, but by a trinomial like x squared plus 3x minus 5. So the steps are exactly the same. I just wanted to show an example of doing one like this. It's a little bit bigger. Not necessarily longer, just a little bigger. So we put our denominator on the outside. Put our numerator, including the missing x squared term, as a 0 inside. And then we divide. Again, we divide the first terms. So I'm looking at just the first terms of each. 7x to the fourth divided by x squared. 7x to the fourth divided by x squared is 7x squared. I'm going to multiply that back through. So that means 7x squared gets multiplied by that whole thing. So we're distributing 7x squared into all three parts. So 7x squared times x squared is 7x to the fourth. 7x squared times negative 3 or positive 3x is 21x to the third. 7x squared times negative 5 is negative 35x squared. So instead of having two terms at a time, we're taking three terms at a time. And then I subtract. Now some of you I think are messing up the sign, so we're going to do the subtraction this way. Instead of saying subtract the entire thing, I'm going to subtract them by changing the signs. So subtract 7, subtract 21. Subtract negative 35 turns it into a plus 35. And by physically changing the signs, I usually get less mistakes. So 7 minus 7 is 0. Those cancel like they should. Negative 3 minus 21 is negative 24x to the third. 0 plus 35 is 35x squared. I bring down the 4x, and we do it all again. First terms only when I'm dividing. So I'm going to divide 24x to the third divided by x squared. Gives me negative 24x. So let's multiply that through. That gives me negative 24x to the third. When I multiply 24x, we're multiplying the negative 24x from up here by all three of these. So negative 24x times x squared is that negative 24x to the third. Times negative 24 times 3 is negative 72x squared. Negative 24 times negative 5 is a positive, watch your signs, two negatives, 120x. Now I'm going to subtract. And again, to subtract, that means all the signs change. So I'm going to subtract this negative, turns it plus. Subtract this negative, turns it plus. Subtract this, becomes just a minus. So the 24's cancel. 35 plus 72 is 107x squared. 4 minus 120 is negative 116x. And bring down the minus 1. All right, one more time, guys. The first terms only gives me 107. And I multiply it back through. 107 times x squared. 107 times 3x is positive 321x. Negative 107 times 5 is a negative 535. And then we subtract. Minus this. Minus this turns to a plus because it's minus a negative. So these cancel. Negative 116 and negative 321. That's negative 437x. Negative 1 plus 535 is 534, and I'm done. And actually, this entire expression is my remainder. Now, how we typically write that in algebra is we would write that remainder over top of the denominator, just like we did before. That's how we should see it. Though, really should be a plus there too. Though if you just said R this and didn't write it like that, I probably won't mark it wrong. Okay? Now this can have missing terms. That might be enough for you, and if that's enough for you, you can go ahead and leave. But you could also have missing terms. Like if I have, let's just do a simple one, x to the third plus, let's do 7 divided by x squared minus 1. And so I would take x to the third plus 0x squared plus 0x plus 7. There's 2 missing terms there. This also has a missing term of 0x in the middle that we're missing out of the denominator. So we got to fill those zeros in. So again, I'll divide the first terms only. X to the third divided by x squared is just x. And that goes all the way over there lined up with the other x. And then I have x to the third. 0 times anything is 0, x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. Subtract. Subtract. Minus the negative becomes a plus. 0 plus 0 is 0x squared. 0 plus 1 is 1x. Bring down the 7. 0 divided by anything is 0. So then when I multiply it back through, all of these are going to be 0 because I'm multiplying by 0. And then when I subtract, I get 7 minus 0, or just 7. 1 minus 0 is just 1. So what I have is x plus 0, I don't need to write, plus x plus 7 over that denominator, because this is the remainder. So x plus 0, I don't write the 0, so it's just x plus that thing. Okay. All right, you can start the homework if you want to come back in the live session for a little more help.